I grew up in an environment where having emotions was wrong, essentially. But you can only get so far by numbing yourself to everything. You're too emotional. Nobody likes to hear that. But the truth is, we need these emotions. The key to being healthy and gorgeous is actually your environment, because emotions are the byproduct of your environment, and your environment directly affects your gene expression. So you could be making yourself uglier right now without even knowing it, because emotions come from experiences, and experiences come from the environment. Environment meaning anything outside of you, so people and the places that you surround yourself with. But say you're stuck and you can't really change your environment right now. The other option is to master detachment. Basically, just know that nothing outside of you has anything to do with you. You were born alone and you will die alone. So enjoy everything for the time that it's here, but be ready to let go at any moment in time. This is the way of Zen, true liberation. I was punished as a child for having emotions. I learned to numb them, and this was great for some years, but then I hit a roadblock in my personal development. And I've since learned that emotions aren't just for weak people, but they're also indicators, kind of like warning lights on a dashboard. Now, don't go running around labeling yourself as angry and depressed. That's the easy way out and the fastest way to make yourself ugly, because emotions affect your gene expression. Sit in silence with those emotions. Give yourself over to them completely through meditation. And I don't mean randomly sit there in silence like you're in timeout. I mean the actual mystical shit where you go inside of your body and you interact with yourself spiritually. And yes, it's a real thing. And before you roll your eyes, just actually know that the energy centers in the body actually work in sync with hormonal glands that affect your overall chemistry, which directly affect your gene expression. It's actual biology and quantum physics. I've personally done this. And the reason why it's not more widely celebrated is because it takes work, and people don't like work. It's like a muscle that you have to develop for yourself. And most people will never do this because of how much work it takes, regardless of how attractive it is. I'll teach you something that will make you walk around like God. Say you lose every single penny to your name. Your children hate you. Your partner left you. But you have this skill. You'll be completely fine, even with all of that. And yes, it's meditation. But the real deal, not just you sitting there pretending like you know what you're doing and dozing off in silence. There's a lot of confusing direction online on how to go about something like this, but I've taken the time to package it very nicely here for you. So you can just block out all of the noise and focus on this and just trust me and the meditation. So here we go. So first, sit upright with both feet flat on the floor. Rest your attention on each of these spots. You should actually feel a sensation at each location. Focus more so on inside of the body than outside. It might feel like moving energy, or the area might feel warm. It's different for everybody. Go up the ladder starting with the lowest one. Do this for about 45 minutes, then rest for 20 minutes. Take in deep breaths starting from your belly. And imagine the breath moving up your spine and through the top of your head. Keep doing this until you feel kind of tingly. If you feel any sensations in your head, shift your attention to it and stay with it. Don't force anything, just relax. And at some point, you'll start to see lights, even with your eyes closed. When you see these lights, just fall into them. You might even feel a physical sensation in your stomach as if you're actually falling from a height. Don't worry about that. Just do it. If you're doing it right, you'll be taken for a fun trip. But don't be scared. Just let it take you. You'll be in good hands. Also, don't be surprised if it doesn't work the first time you tried. This is an S-class skill, something that if honed now, you'll have for a lifetime. Most people will never master this skill because 1, they're skeptical, and 2, it takes work. People hate work. This has to be developed like a muscle, your spiritual muscle. So if you're the kind of person that can make it to the gym consistently, then this should be easy for you. Sometimes I have some seriously dark thoughts. If the thought police were a thing, I'd be locked away. But you know what? All of you would be there with me because that's completely normal. And I used to wonder, where do my thoughts come from? Your thoughts don't actually belong to you. Your conscious decisions do, but not your subconscious thoughts. Your thinking is actually a mix of the environment or any other mix of subconscious activities that you do throughout your day. So if you want to change your thoughts, the key is actually to change your habits, all the things on a day-to-day basis that constitute you. And even more important than that, the people around you. Goodbye, old friends. Goodbye, hometown. And you might say, wait, but that's not true. But that's your consciousness speaking. You have a natural tendency to self-correct whenever anything that threatens your autonomy is pointed out. Consciousness is like the control room. Its job is to communicate and make decisions. But 80% of the time, it's shut off and the subconscious is running the show. I still hate rules. I still want the prettiest girl. I'm still a bully, and I still cannot tolerate people who smell bad. All my life, I have never changed since I was a child. You just become more of you as you grow older, an outward expression of your initial gene pool. Human beings, you are a microcosm of the universe. The physical world is just an outward expression of the quantum realm where all possibilities exist. You first existed as a possibility, your tendencies, your genes, everything that is your core, and then that core expanded outward to create the physical you. And as time continues to pass in this physical space, your consciousness will be expressed outward in a predetermined direction. Essentially, you'll just become more of you. I mean, you can fight it, but your consciousness will just turn around and attack itself. If you don't allow your energy to flow outwards, it will turn inwards and attack you. And this is what we call a bad conscience. In real life, this would be like you not being able to express yourself how you actually are. Say you're a jock and you put around a bunch of nerds. You'll just feel kind of constrained, and your energy will be drained. So it's kind of the same thing. So just sit, find some peace and quiet, Allocate some time to figure out who you are. And this isn't some be yourself social media bullshit. This is like quantum physics and biology at work. You get it? So just trust the science if nothing else. Your imagination. It's like a remote control for your entire life. And all the powerful people know this. I mean, I've experienced some crazy shit personally. You know, like I had a slipped out shoulder and I healed it during deep meditation. I'm recording this because I know that my logical brain is going to kick in at some point and tell me that this didn't happen. People will say, oh, that's crazy, that there's no way that happened. Or better yet, call me the fucking Antichrist. But it doesn't take special to be able to do any of these things. You can do any of these things too, easily. Well, not easily. You know, everything takes work, but the point is it's still possible, right? But first you have to understand that you're a microcosm of the universe, an outward expression of the quantum in this three-dimensional space-time. So you've expanded outward to hold the universe, but you've only been allowed to expand as much as your body has allowed that to happen physically. So your natural state is actually you existing in equilibrium with the universe. But should you betray the desire of the universe, like your true self, then what will happen is all that energy that was meant to go outwards will turn inwards. And this is what we call a bad conscience. It feels like depression or sadness or anger, any of those negative things. But give in to your natural will, and that is where your true power lies. I've always been a confident person. And growing up, I've seen people depressed, insecure. And the only time I've felt anything even remotely close to that was when I went through a little breakup. But that was like a character building event. That was like a canon event necessary for anything worth its salt. You know what I mean? But aside from that, I'd often feel forced to bring down my energy to match everybody else's so they wouldn't feel overwhelmed by me. And this affected the bulk of my relationships. Romantic, friendships, family. It didn't really matter. And for many years, I tasked myself with trying to figure out how to get people to believe in themselves and how to have actual confidence and not the pseudo confidence or their neck goes stiff and they're just pretending like they're confident, but they're really not. Because trust me, real confident people, we see right through it. But anyways, I think I figured out a solution. So your truest self was you as a child, when your spirit was most biologically aligned with you. Confidence comes from accessing as much of that inner child as possible. And this is different from being childish. The actual growing up comes from a raised level of awareness. It's being more conscious of the effects your decisions have on people, places, things around you, your environment in general. And I've actually come to realize, and you'll probably notice this as well if you look around, most people have an extremely low level of awareness. Essentially, they're just big, long babies. You understand? The perfect end product is actually an ultra-aware child. Couple that with a good physique, and you're unstoppable.